Four senior-most judges of the India's Supreme Court held a press conference to raise questions against the Chief Justice of India. Attorney General K.K. Venugopal has said that the crisis will get resolved by today. Venugopal said the press conference by judges could have been avoided. His reaction comes after Justice Chelameshwar, along with Justice Ranjan Gogoi, Justice Lokur and Justice Joseph Kurian alleged that the administration of the top court is not in order. Meanwhile, Supreme Court Bar Association is going to meet today at 4 p.m. with the hope that matter to get resolved amicably. In the entire controversy, central government and the BJP preferred to remain silent and avoided any media response after SC judges' press conference. The judges also released a letter to the media which the judges had also written to Chief Justice a few months back. The judges had alleged nepotism in assignment of the cases and questioned transparency in making the roster and appointment of judges. The press conference has now sparked a political slugfest. The Congress is expected to push the government after top judges of the Supreme Court complained against the Chief Justice of India.
Just give me one. We are getting there.
Points that have been raised by the four judges are extremely important. They have mentioned that there is a threat to democracy. I think it needs to be looked into. It needs to be looked into carefully. They've also made a point about Judge Loya's case. I think that is also something that needs to be investigated properly. It needs to be looked at from the highest levels of the Supreme Court.
Meanwhile, the Indian judiciary, the controversy is unprecedented in scale. Top judges coming out and making allegations against a sitting Chief Justice, their boss, and it could have serious implications. After all, judiciary has guided this country when the executive and the legislature failed to deliver. And by all accounts, people repose faith in judiciary. It's after all the last resort for an ordinary Indian citizen. So it could be argued that yesterday's developments could erode the public's faith in judiciary. And who can forget that the executive and the judiciary not long ago sparred over the appointment of judges. The court says tried and tested method of selecting judges through collegium is all right. Government thinks otherwise. The debate could be reignited. And what about lower judiciary? The Supreme Court is the guiding light for the lower judiciary. The Supreme Court holds them accountable. With the House divided, the lower judiciary of India will face a leadership crisis. Last but not the least, hundreds and thousands of cases pending where the courts will suffer. And this is where it hurts the most.
One of the issue was the rocks and everything, photocopying takes time. It would be further speculation.
Also, we must remember, despite clear constitutional guidelines, there are limitations even to Supreme Court's reach. If you recall, only last year, the court banned firecrackers in the national capital, Delhi, and adjoining areas. What happened? Delhi's Diwali was not without the firecrackers. The roads next day were full of firecrackers left over. Also in 2014, the court banned bull taming sport in the Indian state of Tamil Nadu. What happened then? After a legal battle, the government brought in an ordinance. What we are trying to say is simple. At a time when the court was trying to restore its authority, a controversy like this one doesn't help.
The issue was the rocks and everything, photocopying takes time. It would be further speculation.
Moving on, so who are these judges who spoke out yesterday in what they themselves called an extraordinary move? The four judges who addressed the media are India's senior most. Here's a look at who they are and why their voice carries so much weight. There's one point to note. Out of these four judges, three are set to retire this year. The fourth is in line to become India's next Chief Justice.
Justice Chelameshwar is the second most senior judge in the Supreme Court of India. He has served as the Chief Justice of Guwahati High Court and later Kerala High Court. In 2015, Chelameshwar was the only dissenting voice when the Supreme Court struck down with a 4-1 majority a constitutional amendment in how judges were appointed. Justice Chelameshwar ruled in favour of the National Judicial Appointments Commission and argued that the collegium system had become an euphemism for nepotism. Chelameshwar was also part of the 9-judge bench that delivered the historic Supreme Court verdict declaring privacy as a fundamental right. Justice Madan Lokur was appointed as Additional Solicitor General of India in 1998. Lokur became an additional judge of Delhi High Court in 1999 and then functioned as its acting Chief Justice as well. He has served as the Chief Justice of Guwahati High Court and Andhra Pradesh High Court before he was appointed as a Supreme Court judge in 2012. He was reappointed as the head of the Supreme Court's E-Committee for Digitization of Courts, which has undertaken the ambitious project of making the Apex Court paperless. Justice Kurian Joseph was Additional Advocate General and Senior Advocate in Kerala before he was elevated as a judge of the High Court of Kerala in 2000. He was elevated as a Supreme Court judge in the year 2013 and was the Chief Justice of the High Court of Himachal Pradesh. Justice Gogoi is the next in line in order of seniority to become the Chief Justice of India in October 2018. This would make him the first judge from the Northeast to be elevated to the position of the Chief Justice of India. Gogoi was a permanent judge at the Guwahati High Court in 2001 before he became the Chief Justice of Punjab and Haryana High Court. He was elevated as judge of the Supreme Court in 2012. Gogoi sprung a surprise in his court in 2016, issuing a contempt notice on retired Supreme Court Judge Markande Karju in a review petition after Karju criticized Supreme Court proceedings on his blog. Bureau Report, WION.
Right, we spoke to senior Supreme Court lawyer Aman Lekhi and former Supreme Court Judge G.S. Mishra on the Supreme Court tussle. Let's listen in.
Justice Mishra, thank you for joining us here at WION. I want to ask you, how do we see today's press conference? Was this an intervention, was this a rebellion, or was this a little bit of both?
No, I won't say intervention or rebellion, but it was definitely a deep concern on the part of the judges to see to it that the system works with purity and the people do not lose confidence in the institution. So, seeing this in that light, it's a very courageous and a laudable effort on the part of the judges to have taken the courage to break the system, to break the convention and come out in open. But having said that, the question arises that, is this an appropriate remedy? Because highlighting the matter before the media and for that matter in People's Court at the most can highlight the issue. It can highlight, but it cannot come out with a remedy. But definitely it can, it can compel the system within and outside as to how to come out with a remedy that the system is not only pure, but it should seem to be working in the purest form. And in that sense, while I appreciate the concern of the honorable judges and also feel that the Chief Justice of India should address the issues that have been raised, yet, having been a part of the judiciary for so long, it fills me with anguish that if it is seen in the light of a confrontation, I don't see it as a confrontation among the judges, but I see it, the concern of the judges, that the issue should be addressed and should be come out, the system should come out with a solution where people do not lose faith, not merely in the abstract form, but in the concrete form. The administration of justice also, functions